Michigan in the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for April 2, 2024. We've got a lot to accomplish tonight. We're glad that you're here. We're going to start off with the moment of silence for our invocation, and then we're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to ask Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell to lead us in the pledge. So would you please stand for a moment of silence? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I see we have our state representative in the audience, and we'll give him some time to speak here in just a few minutes, but thank you very much for coming to our meeting, State Representative Jim Haadsma. Next item on our agenda will be the roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris. Here. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
And Vice Mayor Sophia.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Our two proclamations and awards. First one will be for the proclamation for the National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week 2024. Do we have representatives of that organization here? Thank you very much for being here. We'll go up front just a minute. Secondly, we're going to have a proclamation for the Battle Creek Optimist Club Excellence in Arts Week. Are there any Great job. Good job. All right. May we first have the safety group. Please come forward. We're changing it around a little bit. We're allowing you to have some personal time just to tell us a little bit about this proclamation and what you guys plan on doing this week.
Thank you. I wasn't really prepared to speak, so hey, it's okay. It's okay. My name is Erica Nageldinger, and I'm a 911 dispatcher with Calhoun County 911. And we are honored tonight to accept this proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Every year in April, we take a week just to recognize the efforts that all of the 911 dispatchers do, and we have our own kind of private awards ceremony and just do a lot of other special kind of events throughout the week. So we really appreciate this. This is such an honor to be here. So thank you.
Well, and we appreciate everything that you do. I know that that job is very stressful. There are times that I just call in and it seems like you guys are at ease and not worried about anything, but you take care of so many calls. How many calls so far this year? It's a lot of phone calls. Well, on behalf of the people of the city of Battle Creek, we want to say congratulations, and we'd like to have a photo taken. Thanks. Next, we have the Battle Creek Optimist Club. Could you please come forward? Excellence in Arts Week. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Happy to do that. I'm Marcia Heath, a member of the Optimist Club. My co-partner here, Michelle Myers, and I'm also chair of the event that we are hosting, which is the Optimist Excellence in Art. And we gather art from K through 12 youth in Calhoun County, and we put it on display at the Lakeview Square Mall from April 21st through the 26th. Public is welcome to come and look at it, admire it. It is amazing. And then August 26th, that evening, we have our awards ceremony. And we give monetary awards. We give money back to the classrooms for their art programs. We also give out some college scholarships to Kendall School of Arts up in Grand Rapids.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate everything that the Optimists do in our community. I know that you give a lot. I've been to a luncheon or two with your organization. So on behalf of the citizens of the city of Battle Creek, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda will be introduction of ordinance 04-2024, proposed ordinance. Madam Clerk?
Staff has recognized that periodically, the city encounters difficulties with appointing a full roster of members for its various boards and commissions. With particular regard to the Historic District Commission, HDC, a specific set of knowledge and expertise is required of a majority of the members sitting on the commission, further increasing the difficulty in filling vacancies. Chapter 1470 provides for a limit of 2 consecutive 3-year terms for members of the HDC. The proposed amendment to Chapter 1470 would eliminate term limits from the ordinance, allowing for the continued reappointment of commissioners following the completion of 2 terms of service. This proposed ordinance seeks to amend the Historic Preservation Code of the City of Battle Creek.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance 04-2024.
Support.
Been moved and supported to introduce proposed ordinance 04-2024. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, Autumn.
Good evening. I'm commenting on this because this was brought up at a recent NPC meeting a few months ago. Vice Mayor Sherry Sophia was present. It's not that you have a lack of willing participants. It's that when you have participants on there that are qualified, hold building licenses and such, and they go contrary to what the city commission wants, you guys have a habit of kicking them off the board. Mr. Banky did that and appointed his wife and then went further to appoint further city officials there that would continue to be yes men and rubber stamp what the city wanted. So it's not that you have a lack of willing participants, it's that you guys don't like it when you have diverse opinions that don't rubber stamp what you guys' preconceived notion already is. I also find it highly undemocratic and unconstitutional to have no term limits on this. Only in a banana republic or communist nation would you appoint people to just sit up there and then just, leave when they want or when the mayor wants them or whatever. But I want it to be known, it's not that you don't have a lack of willingness, it's that you don't like diverse opinions. And when somebody wants to preserve a building that maybe the city doesn't want to preserve, or has a $350,000 investment to want to knock it down and then secure vacant properties if that person challenges them to go to court, and then the Historic Building Commission decides, well, maybe we should try to save this building. Let's try to work with the owner. And then the city doesn't want to do that. They kick people off. That's not the way it works. So let's make it very clear. There is a willingness to serve, but it's when there's people that want to do something different that is contrary to the city, then there's conflict and people are undemocratically removed. Thank you.
Any other public comments at this time? Yes, David.
David Moore, 123. We kind of been through this a lot. People being informed what is going on. There's been rumors of things that goes on that people don't know about. And it's just something should be worked out where the public should be a little more involved, and the people should know what's going on and be a little more informed.
Thank you, David. Any other public comment? Yes, John.
John Kennevic, 234 South Avenue. I like the way Autumn Smith said that. I couldn't have acted on it better. It is an agreement that the Historic Division, Historic Council, or whatever you want to call them, was to decide historic buildings. If you happen to look at the downtown area, you'd see a major contradiction. Most of the historic buildings have been wiped out. If you've ever read the book Kunstler's Infill, which is the destruction of inner cities, you'd see that's the same pattern. But I'm going to expand beyond that because basically you did not agree with saving a building, which was the pie-shaped building. And the guy was trying to sell it, and you blocked it. And it ended up being a tragedy in most cases, because most buildings can be rehabilitated. It just takes some time and some effort to do it. But you weren't interested, and the board members of the Historic Division or Commission or whatever, no, it got removed, because you didn't like what they were doing. So I'm going to expand a little bit beyond that. There's a person that I know that he and I disagree on many things. And he was on the Housing Board of Appeals. And instead of just doing his job, he went out prior to standing on the board, and he was looking at the houses that were coming up that he was going to view. And he noticed this really nice looking house, except it had one small problem. On the southern exposure, it was peeling paint, but the rest of the house was beautiful. It was really fantastic. And so he comes to the Board of Appeals, which he's a member of, and a little 80-year-old lady is the deed holder of that property. And he gets in a dispute between the code compliance and what they wanted to have done. They wanted to have this thing fixed over really a nothing. So he did something against the rules, just like the Historic Commission did in this case. He said, well, let's give her a 6-year extension. And none of the other board members were interested. Are you done reading, Mr. Binky? I thought I had your undivided attention according to the Code of Rules. Thank you. Anyway, he said it had a 6-year extension, which is what they are not allowed to do at the Housing Board of Appeals. Well, it was supported and it passed, and the code department was arguing with him. You can't give a 6-year extension to a little old lady for something that's really nothing. We just did. You got rid of him pretty quick, too. He felt more about the city of Battle Creek than pretty much the commission did. And one final thing, you might thank that person because New Holland Brewing, or whatever it's called, on the corner of West Michigan and McKinley, that wouldn't be there today if it wasn't for that man who stood against this commission and maintained his building against what the Kellogg's wanted. That was its demolition of that area. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Steve Koch, Washington North near Gooddale. Some of you might know who I am, some of you don't, and that's fine. I'm going to ask all of you that are prior military that are on this board here, I'm going to ask you to remember that your oath of office, number one. Number two is a program called Fraud, Waste, and Abuse. I don't know if you guys remember that. I remember it. I'm 30 years past my prime on my military time, okay? So I'm going to just say this. When we take money that belongs to the taxpayers and in good faith you abuse it, that's part of the Fraud, Waste, and Abuse program that you're not supposed to do under your oath of office, that you sign an oath, that you're here to represent us, not here to represent yourselves. You're not here to represent other special interest groups. There's another thing that I was told by a 2-star general. If you take care of your people take care of the mission. What that amounts to is very simple. You're a board. You take care of the taxpayers here, and the taxpayers will take care of the city of Battle Creek, not backwards. So just take that under advisement.
Thank you, Steve. Is there any other public comment this time? Seeing none, is there any commission comment? Seeing none, are you prepared to vote on the introduction of Ordinance 04-2024? Please vote. The introduction of proposed ordinance 04-2024 has been introduced. Next item on our agenda is the adoption of ordinance 02-2024. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This proposed ordinance seeks to amend the zoning code of the City of Battle Creek. Staff finds that the proposed amendments to the zoning code are needed to fix errors, improve clarity, and provide additional flexibility to land uses, residents, and property owners in the community without compromising safety and quality of life for the residents. The Planning Commission, at their February 28, 2024 meeting, held a public hearing on the draft amendments to the zoning code. There were no public comments during the public hearing. With 7 members present, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend the City Commission approve the proposed amendments to the zoning code. This resolution seeks to adopt an ordinance to amend the zoning code of the City of Battle Creek.
Move to adopt ordinance 02-2024.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adopt ordinance 02-2024. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, are there any commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on the adoption of ordinance 02-2024? The adoption of ordinance 02-2024 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is resolution to adopt ordinance 03-2024. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This proposed ordinance seeks to rezone various properties located in 2 clusters along Michigan Avenue West, Jackson Street West, Kendall Street South, Van Buren Street West, and Angel Street, currently zoned R3 Multiple Family Residential District and T3 Neighborhood Commercial District to T4 Downtown Commercial District and T3 Neighborhood Commercial District. The rezoning of these properties will allow for more flexibility in how this area develops or redevelops in the future by creating additional uses for the properties that would otherwise not be allowed under the current zoning districts. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on February 28, 2024 on the proposed rezoning. There was 1 public comment in favor of the proposal at the meeting. With 7 members present, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend that the City Commission approve the proposed rezoning. This proposed ordinance seeks to rezone various properties located in 2 clusters along Michigan Avenue West, Jackson Street West, Kendall Street South, Van Buren Street West, and Angel Street.
Move to adopt ordinance 03-2024.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adopt ordinance 03-2024. Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share that I had the opportunity to touch base with Neighborhood Planning Council 2, and they were in support of this, as well as the Washington Heights Neighborhood Advisory Committee. They and I feel that this would be a great opportunity for development within our neighborhood.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on the resolution to adopt ordinance 03-2024? The adoption of ordinance 03-2024 has been approved. Congratulations, everyone. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand, and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolution you are speaking to. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, commission comment regarding meeting business?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Is there any comment by a commissioner on the consent agenda? Seeing none, would you please vote to approve the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is resolutions not included in the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, the first resolution is 402. When you're ready.
This agreement has been provided to recognize service from an employee who may transfer into MERS from police and fire pension. Or on rare occasion, we have an employee moving from the police and fire pension system into a MERS position. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Municipal Employees Retirement System, MERS, to administer a grant of service credit for employees who meet certain criteria and were previously employed in a position covered by a city non-MERS police and fire retirement plan.
Move to approve Resolution 402.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 402. Any comments by the commission at this time?
Just want to clarify.
Mr. Ballard?
Thank you, Mayor. A clarification on that. So the person may have worked for the police department or fire department, and they're under their pension program. And then they're coming back to the city, and they're going to work under the MERS program. And there's going to be a combined years of service. Is that what I just understood?
Let me go back specifically to the terms. This came up because there was a resolution approved at the last meeting for Jill Wood, who's retired, to come back to the city. So I want to be specific on that question for you here.
As you're looking, I just want to clarify that we're just doing one pension or the other, not anything more than that, correct?
So it's a grant of service credit exclusively for purposes of vesting and eligibility, and not for the benefit credit purposes. So it would allow, if she's, for instance, getting the fire pension, because you have to, under MERS, you have to have 10 years.
Right.
So it would allow her to use the years of service to the city while in the fire pension to apply to get her to vesting for MERS. But let's say she works 3 years under MERS, and you take 7 years to get her vested to the 10. The multiplier would be for 3 years of service, not for 10. It would be for 3 years of service, and they wouldn't count any of the money that she earned in any of her earnings in fire. Is that helpful
So
there?
if I'm understanding it correctly, then she will continue to receive, or anyone that applies for this would continue to receive their pension from where they had left, and now they're going for a second pension, but only getting 3 years toward the 10-year.
So that's just my example, that if she works 3 years in this position, that she could get whatever the benefit would be for working 3 years, if that's how long she works, because that would have helped her get to the 10 years of vesting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 402? Resolution 402 has been approved. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 403. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
For more than a decade, the city has had an agreement with Serial City Development Corporation, CCDC, to provide concessions at city and community events at the stadium, but it has indicated it no longer wishes to provide that service. Serial City Concessions, LLC, wishes to also provide the concession services at Bailey Park for city programs and tournaments going forward. As part of the consideration for the concessions agreement, Northwoods League Incorporated agrees to amend the C.O. Brown Stadium lease to provide the city with 7.5% of gross sales net of sales tax for concessions sold in C.O. Brown Stadium during city or sponsoring organization events. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to enter into a concessions agreement with Serial City Concessions, LLC, and to amend the C.O. Brown Stadium lease agreement.
Move to approve Resolution 403.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 403. Are there any comments by the commission on this issue? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just curious, is that 7.5 or 7.5%, is that industry standard, or do we have anything to compare that against?
Jonathan or Duska?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Jonathan Baber, Deputy City Attorney. In response to that question, under the previous contract, the old terms were for 10%, but we renegotiated down because we're getting the extra benefit of having concession sales in C.O. Brown Stadium during those special events. That is something we didn't have before. And then Duska, with talking with the new potential vendor, they're very excited and anticipate actual higher revenue sales. So we anticipate, even though it's 7.5%, slightly less than our last contract, that the revenue will be substantially similar, if not slightly more, to the city for this contract.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there any other questions on Resolution 403? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 403? Resolution 403 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 404. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Journey Church, located at 800 South 24th Street, has served as a polling location for City of Battle Creek precincts 2, 3, 22, and 23 since 2016. On Tuesday, February 13, 2024, the city clerk was notified that Journey Church, although they would host the February 27, 2024 election, no longer had the availability to host elections on their campus in the future due to scheduling and other priorities. On Wednesday, March 2024, due to the immediate need to relocate the 4 precincts, the Election Commission considered and approved the consolidation and relocation of the 4 precincts. This resolution requests approval for a new polling location for newly consolidated Precinct 22 at Westlake Presbyterian Church, 415 South 28th Street.
Move to approve Resolution 404.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 404. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on the approval of Resolution 404? Resolution 404 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 405.
The City Attorney Evaluation Salary Review Committee, the committee, met on March 25, 2024 to discuss and recommend a process to search for a replacement for the city attorney appointed position. The committee recommended a 2-prong approach, allowing the city's Human Resources Department to first follow its normal recruitment process, allowing interested applicants to apply, while also having the Purchasing Department begin the Request for Proposals RFP process as set out in Chapter 208 of ordinances for third-party search firms to fall back on in the event the city's HR department hasn't identified sufficient qualified candidates to recommend to the City Commission for interviews. The city manager may also contract directly with a search firm outside of the RFP process if it's in the city's best interest to do so. This resolution seeks approval to follow the recommendation of the City Attorney Evaluation Salary Review Committee regarding the search for a new city attorney.
Move to approve Resolution 405.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 405. I'd like to go to our Vice Mayor to see if she has anything she wants to put on the record.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate all of the work that the committee members put in. I think that there was some thoughtful discussion, and with the recognition that, because I've been asked, do we have to have a city attorney? And the answer is yes, that's included as part of our charter. So with that understanding, how best to fill that position and make sure that it's done in a timely manner so that there is an opportunity for them to have some time to work with our current city attorney and get up to speed on the projects and all of the work that she's got in process. So we are taking the two-pronged approach. HR is doing through all of their normal channels, and at the same time, we're doing the RFP process so that if we're not getting candidates that meet the criteria that we're looking for, we have that outside search firm kind of already, that process of finding a search firm. If we decide that we don't need a search firm and we get adequate resumes in, then that is money that we won't need to spend.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Vice Mayor? No? All right. We'll go to Commissioner Simmons and then Commissioner Smith.
And I guess this is directed to you or the city attorney. As far as the two-pronged approach with the RFP for going to an outside firm or keeping it in-house, can someone tell me about in-house, how wide the net would be? Is this more for internal candidates, or are you going out into the community or statewide? Or I just kind of wanted to understand a little better what both processes would cover, the RFP versus an internal.
Okay, so I'll start with kind of the posting by HR. So, they will post the job description, and then it goes to a lot of our regular things, LinkedIn, Indeed, it'll go to the Michigan Municipal League. Also, there's been inquiries about the role, and so HR can seek out candidates to apply as well. So it becomes an online application that's open for a period of time, as we have set out as what's asked of the commission to consider tonight. And then applications would be submitted for that.
And would internal candidates
Yes. It would
be eligible in that stage?
Internal and external both,
Okay.
yes. And then do you want me to talk about the RFP process?
Yes, I mean, how would that be different if we contracted with a firm to do that? It was like a headhunter firm that we'd be working with?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So some people think that with a search firm, you get a broader net. They tend to also already have relationships in other municipalities or communities that they could do direct reach out to people who may be interested in the role, whether they're currently working in a municipality or in the private sector. So it'd be a lot more directed response from kind of like the headhunter format. Still, it would be posted on all those broad areas, but a search firm would walk the commission through a community brochure, open up that process, make sure the job description is exactly what the commission is asking for, talk to the commission about what characteristics and things you're going to be looking for, what have we had in the past. In this case, we haven't gone to the outside for a city attorney yet, ever, I guess in the last at least 40 years, but they would walk through that whole process, and they do the first vetting. So a lot of times what we're seeing is they'll do the first vet with a phone interview. So let's say you get 30 applications, they do a phone interview, and after the conversation, the search firm, based on the information they got from the commission, would say, I can narrow it down to such and such. How many do you want to interview in a first round? Do you need a second round? Until they present candidates. And then what the process looks like. Everything has to be in public, but, is there anything specific that the commission would be looking for, the community would be looking for in the candidates?
Thank you very much. That answered my question. I would hope that one of our, as a commission, one of our very few, only one of two positions that we actually hire for are the city manager and the city attorney. And farming that out, I think, while a viable option, I would prefer to go the HR and internal route and have us have a more hands-on approach to that. That would be my preference, but I'll support this evening.
If I could add to what City Manager Fleury said, note that the job description is attached to this resolution, and that's part of this resolution, and that you would be approving the job description that is attached.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to be certain for my benefit and perhaps others as well, too. What we're approving tonight is the process for collecting applications, not selecting candidates.
Correct.
Right.
That's something that they're actually,
Right.
When you've narrowed down, done the screening that's allowed by case law, then the actual interviews have to take place at an open meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think this is a quite good process where we can do what our job is to hire a city attorney. And if something does happen, you know, we do have a backup, so we could have the outside firm. I do like this. But I believe all of us up here can really come together. It's going to be a few extra meetings, and we're really put the work in, but we're really going to try to save money for the city and not have to spend extra on what we're looking for as all of us. So thank you for that proposal, and I'll be voting yes.
Any other commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on the approval of Resolution 405? Resolution 405 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you and then come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. We're going to go to Jim Hodsma if he would like to say anything. If he doesn't want to say anything,
Right.
we want to thank him for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. I'm Jim Hotzman, 249 Snow in Bedford Township, 49037. It's been a complicated start to the year in the Michigan House because of a 54-54 tie and an inability of leadership to get along with how they navigate that tie. As I'm confident you all know, there is a pair of special elections in Warren and Westland on April 16. And after those election results are certified, we should be able to go forward the next week with a full complement of House members, and I expect us to get a lot accomplished between the third week of April and around the 4th of July, kind of the opposite of what happened in the autumn 2023 period, where we did a lot in the first part of the autumn and not very much in the latter part of the autumn because of those issues and to move up the primary to February from the previously scheduled March. I expect there to be a lot of work on the budget, the 2024-25 budget, which by our rules is supposed to be accomplished by the 1st of July. I'm confident we will get it done again around that time, if not sooner, and that we will be doing as much as we can to ensure that opportunities for economic development are brought back to the city of Battle Creek. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. David Moore. I thought that was your hand going up, or...
I'm David Moore. A little difficult to give comments up here. We have talked many times being fair for everybody. This city commission, even the commissioners, the public, the homeowners, everybody. Everybody's got an important part here. I'd like to see everybody, I don't know, the people should know a little more what's going on. I guess there's some that don't care. I guess there's whatever the problem is. But people should be more informed and be concerned about being informed. Because these mayors are important, like we, on these committees and boards, God knows how many people we're on all of these. And I'm kind of one for, I come here to try to serve in these meetings, and I kind of like to know what's going on, and I try anyway. And people should be more concerned about that too. And we're picking positions, and we talk about here earlier. I think more people should be more involved, and it should be more included. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Are there any other public comment this night? Yes, sir.
Joe Harris, 243 Elder Street. I was here last time when we voted for that, the bathroom in the park, and I understand why it was voted on. I do. I'm looking at the cost, and I'm like, wow, that is just a tremendous amount of money. My concern lies, though, when I read into the details, that there was only one bid. That's where my concern lies. And it begs the question is, does Battle Creek have what they call a minimum bid system? If we do, it doesn't seem like it was used in this case. If we don't, then why don't we? A minimum bid system makes it so that there has to be a minimum number of bids, say 3 or 5, from different contractors for city contracts. Such as the bathrooms in the park, and those bids have to be in before anything goes forward. What does a minimum bid system do? It promotes healthy competition between companies so as to help lower costs, which is good for the city, it's good for the taxpayer. It helps encourage different companies to bid for contracts, so you'll have more people bidding if you have that system in place. It encourages accountability in that the same businesses won't seemingly get the contracts all the time. If Battle Creek does not have a minimum bid system, and I don't, so I have no clue if they do, but if they do not have a minimum bid system, I would encourage the commission to put one in place. It would only be better for the city, in my opinion, so thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you being here, and we'll have some from the city manager's office get in contact with you. Any other public comments at this time? Steve?
Same place. I haven't moved since the last time I was up here. I have a suggestion, a recommendation, and you guys probably won't do it, but I'm going to make a recommendation anyhow. If I'm being represented by an attorney, I pay the bill, okay? If the city of Battle Creek is being represented by the city attorney, who's paying the bill for that? The city or the taxpayers? It's simple. We go back to that again, all right? If you're going to have the city attorney represent the city, represent the contracts, represent the union contracts, represent anything but the citizens of Battle Creek, my recommendations is we put it out for a vote to the citizens of Battle Creek to decide whether or not that the taxes from the city of Battle Creek should be used to pay for the city attorney, or whoever is being represented by the city attorney should pay the monthly salary. Like when I was a Teamster in the union, I paid union dues. Those people represented me, all right? I didn't have to have an attorney. Same thing with the city of Battle Creek. The city attorney represents the city of Battle Creek, represents the contracts, represents everything but the taxpayer. When the taxpayer has a problem with the city of Battle Creek, they have to hire a private attorney. And guess who represents the city of Battle Creek? The city attorney. And who pays the bill for that person's time? The taxpayers. Does that seem like a conflict of interest to you? It sure does to me. It feels like I'm getting it in the short, so to speak, okay? So my recommendation is that we change, if you're going to do the charter change, let's change that. And let's make it where you have to vote on who's going to pay who and when, okay? Mayor Benke, you represent the city of Battle Creek, but you also are supposed to represent the people. You get paid by the taxes by the city of Battle Creek, which are the taxpayers, which includes you, who pays taxes, all right? If you represent only the city of Battle Creek, and that's all you represent, then you should be getting paid by the employees and the people who are in the city of Battle Creek who work for the city of Battle Creek. And it should be based on the amount of your income. So if you make $20,000 a year, you pay X amount of dollars. If you make $100,000, you pay 5 times that amount. Makes sense.
Yes, Autumn.
Evening. I too would like to comment about the city attorney. I agree with Mr. Koch. We are paying our oppressor to oppress us. And also you guys have governmental immunity and qualified immunity too. And I don't think that it's fair that we have to pay for a city attorney to go into court and fight against us if there's a beef going on, and especially a city attorney with ethics, such as the quote that I will never forget, stated by Ms. Steele when asked, "What do you do when you know that the city is violating the law and people's rights. Her response, I defend the city no matter what. So we are paying somebody to defend possible criminal activity, constitutional rights violations at our expense, like what Mr. Koch said, while we have to shell out thousands of dollars to defend ourselves, and we're paying our oppressor to oppress us. With that, I'll move on to another topic. I received documents that stated they were from a public records request from another municipality, and it was on Battle Creek City letterhead, and it was signed by Mr. Banky and Rebecca Fleury, and it was in support of the CCP battery plant. Now, while it's great that we're all entitled to our opinions, I feel it was highly inappropriate to have it put on letterhead unless there was a resolution where you guys voted on it. Because no offense, Ms. Fleury could support what she wants as a private citizen. She's an unelected bureaucrat, okay? People don't understand the city manager does not manage the city. She manages the city employees, department heads. So while she may support it or whatever, I think it was inappropriate for her to use the city letterhead to do it. Mr. Banky, you're a mayor, you do represent the citizens, but I don't think you brought it to a vote or anything to see. So while, you know, there's a lot of people that are opposed to it and stuff like that, and I just thought that was highly inappropriate and a misuse of titles and abuse of power, in my opinion. Thank you.
Any other public comments at this time? John?
John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue. The last commission meeting, Jill Steele said that she was going to retire in August. My personal opinion, she can leave now. It's not really going to make too much of a difference.
Excuse me, let's not get personal, all right?
I'm going to talk about...
I asked you not to get personal.
Okay, now listen carefully then. You have 7 resolutions today on this agenda. I have in front of me Ordinance 11-2021, approved by the Commission 12/7/2021. This information was produced by the City Attorney's Office. It showed 15 meetings, and it timed each person that talked up here. You were allowed a total of 5 minutes, but many of the people didn't have a 5-minute time period. They had less. They didn't have as much to say, so they weren't as long. So of the 15 meetings, 10 people spoke greater than the 3-minute time period because they were allowed 5 minutes. 26 people spoke 3 minutes or about that time. 10 people spoke greater than 3 minutes to the 5-minute period. In this resolution, this was created in such a fashion as to not tell people how many things that each person talked about. Were they talking about 1 resolution, 2 resolutions, 3 resolutions in that time period? It doesn't mention that information. That's important information to see how people convey information and their concerns to the City Commission, which unfortunately shows that if you have 7 meetings, 7 resolutions today, and somebody wants to speak on all 7 resolutions, try doing that in less than a 3-minute period. I do not see where this government is prospering into the future. It just finds things that are more difficult. In regards to this matter, what happens here is by reducing the time up here for people to speak, that limits them to decide, well, I can only speak on this one but not these 3 others because you haven't given me any time. If we go back in time 20 years, you would know that a resolution would come up. Public was allowed to speak on it for a total of 3 minutes. Then the City Commission would talk about it, and then they'd vote on it. Then they'd come up with resolution number 2. You'd have 3 minutes if you had a concern. You didn't have to speak if you didn't want to. But you had 3 minutes to talk about that. That's 6 minutes. Compared to 3, no, the Commission and the City Attorney's Office think that 3 minutes is less than adequate for people to speak, especially when government employees are allowed given extra time, and when you all speak and have extra time. I suggest that you reverse this and give more time to the citizens, not saying that you think they're important, but demonstrate that they really are not. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Any other public comments? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Yeah, sorry the fire chief's not here this evening, but I just want to say thank you to Quincy Jones, the fire inspector, for all the years of service that he put in, and congratulations on his retirement, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for attending.